Other Horby Haas kid.
Were we doing that? Were we doing that?
Welcome to another Hobby Horse episode numero cinco sank. I forgot how you say it in Japanese. Dr. Death, remember how you say 5 in Japanese?
Go.
Go. There you go.
Number go.
But yeah. Number go. But yes, in all seriousness, welcome. It's been a really long time, and I just got a check in the mail the other day. You want to know who it was from?
Is it White Castle?
It was White Castle. You got a whole check for a whole big macaroons of 25 cents. Thanks, White Castle. Very cool.
How many times do we have to say White Castle until we're billionaires?
A few times. I think
yeah, like a few 100 bajillion times.
Every cast in order to make the 25 cents of little ad revenue. And if you guys support this channel, we might just do a live Hobby Horse podcast in a White Castle one of these days. So that's the goal.
I still refuse that it's going to be an actual White Castle. We're going to like go to fucking Burger King, or we're going to be like in a whatever fast food restaurant we all
and then
at.
then we get paid 420 million White Castilians.
There you go. I think what might happen actually is that we might just go to our local supermarket, buy some of those White Castle burgers. I'm probably cutting in and out here because I'm on Wi-Fi instead of an actual fucking Ethernet cable, but we have to bear with that. Yeah. But yeah, it's been quite a while. I'm like choking on my own words here.
I'd say 2 months.
2 months? About 2 months? 3 months? I know it's been a while.
Yeah,
but
definitely been a hot minute there, I will admit.
Yeah. And as per usual, we're gonna go down the line here, and we're gonna ask one of those questions, right? We're gonna ask one of those questions where everyone's gonna go a little off the deep end. But everyone that's in here right now, how you guys holding up right now? You know, anything new happening? Anything interesting? You know, did your mayor finally give you a hug? You know, yeah. How you holding up, Dr. Death?
Well, I went to a concert and ended up on a satanic cult. So yeah,
Sweet Jesus.
I'm just kidding, but like, no, but I actually went to a concert. It was pretty fun.
All right. Drunksky, are you doing okay?
I'm still alive, for better or worse. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you do stay up till like 3 a.m. every morning. I see you wandering around, embracing Luna's moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whatever way you want to take that. Yeah.
Night is better than day, so yeah.
Yeah,
I know that driving at night, so long as you don't have any fucking crackheads driving with their lights off or some drunk motherfucker going the wrong direction, it's actually pretty comfy because you don't have to worry about other people driving like absolute psychopaths. That's what I like about night.
I mean, at my last job, I was working at graveyard shifts, and on my first night, some fucking gangbanger just kept doing like a run by shootings when I was like near my workplace, so that was pretty fun.
Yes. Were they doing drive-bys on random buildings?
It was more like they were just driving in circles, like where like the tires were screeching, leaving marks and shit, and then we just hear fucking gunshots. So that was pretty fun.
Oh boy!
Sounds like a typical night in downtown LA. Thanks, downtown LA. Very cool.
LA proves once again that it's the worst place in the world to live.
Yeah, it is.
You truly love to see it.
I don't know, like if people in LA were told that a ballistic missile was incoming that would wipe out the town, they'd probably jump for joy because living conditions would actually improve.
Yes, unironically. Well, there's LA for you. Fucking hate it too. I'm back here for like a month or two, but hopefully I'll be out of here. Smutty's a new person and a new face.
Yes,
we're absorbing more and more new people that might not ever come back to another cast because that's just how it works. But yes, Smutty, tell me, how are you holding up? I know it's a. Are you up to date on MLP? Or are you still watching, or like how does that work?
Nah, I've still effectively only watched up until season 5. I don't know anything that happens after that besides the shitty finale, really.
And is this due to you waifuing Mod?
No, not really. I mean, honestly, I watched the episode and it wasn't even that bad, honestly. It was more fucking Pinky being a spurk than anything, but
How are you coping with getting cucked by literally a stick in the mud?
well, it's probably the simple fact that fucking Mudbriar probably just watches her getting fucked by Boulder while in the corner, so that's probably that.
What the fuck?
Does he say something like, technically, this isn't cuckoldry or something like that?
Probably, I imagine so. But I'm feeling okay. I have a bit of a headache because me and Maud were playing a friendly game of rock, which is basically just us tossing rocks at each other. And now I have a fucking headache, but fuck it.
I mean, is there like a
Might want
ringing
to
in
go.
your ears? Whenever you shake your head, do you hear a bit of a rattling? What's going on?
A bit of that, yeah.
You might want to get that checked out by Nurse Redheart.
Oh, fun. Is that going to lead to any molestation by her?
Possibly, I don't know.
That depends on what head canon you have of her. If she's just some overworked mayor trying to do her job, or some absolute fucking pervert. The choice is
Like
yours,
every,
really.
like every Tumblr ass blog pony, yeah.
The choice is yours.
Choice is yours, Tom.
The choice is yours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. We haven't like talked to each other in like such a long fucking time. But an interesting thing here is that I know there are still people going to TrotCon. Maybe not in this group anymore, but there have been some whispers, some echoes, if you will, of a convention starting up in Florida. So, hypothetically speaking, if this convention starts up in Florida, that doesn't have these weird mass mandate rules and is a little bit more friendly towards the adult crowd, would you guys rather prefer something like that or keeping to the status quo? Hopefully, you guys get to hear the farts of your favorite VAs rather than having a good time with the boys.
Who cares about the
Anyone want to
VAs?
tackle that?
Who cares about the VAs? I'm here with the boys talking about pony shit. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really don't understand this whole worshiping of VAs personally, but that's just me.
It's
Yeah.
a different kind of celebrity interest rather than looking at the Kim Kardashians or whatever. You would end up having people that form like some sort of weird admiration cultish thingamajig over like the VAs. I personally don't get it, mostly because I don't like holding people up to that much of a pedestal. It feels weird. But hey, I'm myself. I can't speak for other people that probably have a different mindset.
I don't think there's any really good VAs going to TriCon, as far as I know. Nobody too important.
It's all like random people, probably.
Yeah, because I will be like 100% honest with you guys. Like, I sort of just lost interest completely once I saw like certain individuals, which I will not name because I don't want to give them any attention. But there are certain individuals there that are just like shoehorning their own policies, even though they're not even a part of like the planning committee or any type of official committee. Like, that's kind of dumb. I thought the people in charge are the people in charge for a reason, and it just feels like the mob is controlling the con and holding the con at, you know, holding the con hostage in a way. Now, I could be
Yeah.
just spurging out and being a schizo, but that's just from what I've seen. My biggest pet peeve is the fact that the con lost 20 grand, and for whatever reason, people still shilled out the money for this thing to happen, and yet they're still treating a lot of the people like shit, even though they kind of are just, being assholes about it. Like, again, I'm not going. I was going, like, originally, as in a year ago, when they said they might have done it, but then it kept being like called back and called back and called back, and finally it's happening. But there's just so many mandates that are happening now. Personally, I had to get the stupid, funny Kool-Aid shot because of my job specifically. But it's just weird to demand that when, I mean, Dr. Death, I'm pretty sure you're I know you go to cons
Yeah.
in the area, but the biggest one that's happening, Anime Expo in downtown Los Angeles, they're not even doing mandates, correct?
No, I don't think so.
So it's like, and that con brings in people like hundreds of thousands of people from
I think
all over the world.
I think like 500,000. I think.
Yeah, no, I believe it because people aren't just there for the weekend. Like, I know people are there for like an entire week.
Or I think it's like 4 days.
Mm. So it just, you kind of wonder, like, what the hell's the goal here? Like, I get it, you're trying to keep people safe, but at the same time too, if like other laws are just not demanding it, then why are you doing it? But again, this could just be the rants of a schizo. So I'll open the floor up to anyone that has any takes on this.
I didn't really think people cared about COVID that much anymore, but I guess I'm wrong. I will admit that I did come down with, I don't know what variant, and frankly, I don't care to figure out, but it was mildly unpleasant. But I
Yeah.
survived. Maybe I
Oh.
died and I'm actually like some sort of schizoid that's pretending to be him. Just like someone that popped in to assume the identity to make you think that I'm the same person. But why would I do that?
Why would you do that? Are we X posting? Is that what we're doing?
I actually wish I
so.
had some good topics from X, but all they fucking talk about are skinwalkers. I get so tired of the same fucking story over and over again. It feels like someone leaving something on repeat to fester in my mind with the worst kind of contempt being bred with that familiarity, man.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, right now what I've been seeing, a lot of backrooms stuff being posted here and there. Kind of if we're going to go on to this topic of like pretending we're X here, people are complaining that all these new videos that are coming out of this background, what I keep fucking word sounding this
Backrooms.
shit. Yeah, the back rooms. People are complaining now that, like, oh, this wasn't the intention of the back rooms, and like, it's making it more popular, and TikTok is taking control. I'm like, okay, first of all, TikTok is like a parasitic leech. They'll take anything that's remotely popular and kill it. So it's not that specific thing about the back rooms. But
Yeah.
these animators that are making all these animations, they're pretty fucking cool. Like, I'd rather watch those animations than those like weird Twitch streamers that are just watching the new flavor of the month and they get bored of it and drop it. Because these guys look like they're actually putting in a shit ton of work and a shit ton of like actual like story and lore into it, from what I'm seeing at least. Of course, there's gonna be those like random videos of just like some guy trying to get a couple thousand subs because this is again one of the flavors of the month. But the original Backrooms, right? And I was having a fucking argument with this guy on X because he was saying like, oh, it was meant to be like a never ending like rooms and hallways. Like, it wasn't supposed to have like monsters and this and that. I'm like, my dude, did you not read the original post? Which I will quote right now. If you're not careful and you no clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the back rooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless of background noise of fluorescent lights at a maximum hum buzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. Now, pay attention to this last sentence, folks. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you.
Yeah, that's
So,
that probably conveys the idea of something that's snooping and spooping back there. I think that probably where some people might be coming from that is that there's probably at least one person that just like has like that classic backrooms aesthetic, those horrible dingy yellow fluorescent lights with all those rundown office aesthetics, and then like they have that shaky camcorder quality. Then they see a spooky monster, which was probably going to be something you'd really expect it to be, like some sort of spaghetti creature or siren head, and then they go like, "What?" And then like the camera just rapidly moves away from them, cut film. Like I can understand why
mm,
people would dislike that, because that's just lazy. I know some people probably think that that's like the height of horror, but it's like I kind of want to see people do something more with it. And why show the monster at all? Why not have like something that you can just barely make out, but you know it's there? You know that there's some sort of noise, there's some horrible sounding thing, and you can just barely see what it is. And you frankly don't want to get any more of a look at it because
Like
you know
flesh
it's
eating
looking for
walls.
you. Now that's pretty
ooh.
metal.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, there are, like I said, there are videos like that. Like the two biggest guys that I can think of is what is his name? Kane Pixels, and the other one that's escapes my memory, but I know he's the one that has the kind of like that 1980s VHS aesthetic to his all of his recordings. And then there's another dude too. And his name's escaping my memory, but I will sure include links in the description once this gets edited in a month or two. Um, but yeah, I was just using this sort of as like a bridge onto another topic of people like slightly not knowing what they're talking about, or maybe they have a clue, but um, maybe not a whole understanding. But does anyone want to chime in 2 cents before we move on to the next topic? Nobody going once.
Well, I could also chime in that X usually does make some pretty good spooky things, especially whenever they actually have some mystique writing that doesn't explain the spookiness too much. Something that I think is very interesting that I would recommend anybody check out is searching up Calgary's Gideon Keys. You'll probably find a channel like Midnight Broadcast. They have a video on all of the around 250 of them. I don't want to spoil any of them, but they have like this unique charm to it. To give the closest approximation, I would say imagine the Holders creepypastas from back in the day,
Oh god.
but like
Oh,
there's a new tint on it, and giving it a location that's tied to the real world instead of some vague hearsay sounding thing. It makes it feel more real. It makes it feel more immersive that way, and that's why I would recommend it.
Uh,
Just to get more of your spooky fix if you're that kind of person.
there are spaces that exist though that are like the back rooms, especially if anyone has ever worked or been around like major hospitals, or even as they say in the post, because you can go back and search up the number, and like you can even see these people like talking about it. But yeah, major hospitals, like big hospitals, not like the small ones, but like I'm talking about like a city hospital or like a downtown hospital. Same thing with like hotels, and any location that basically requires like extra space and a lot of storage. There are places like this, and if you get fucking lost in it, it is fucking terrifying. Because just a slight story here. I was when one of my relatives was in the hospital a few years back, and they were there for like a week. It was a major hospital in the downtown area, and what's it called? I pressed the wrong button in the fucking like elevator. I don't know why they have it like this, but they don't have basement. They just call it like floor number 1 or something. When floor 2 is actually like the ground
Oh,
floor.
the ground floor. Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about, because that's what like my local Medicare provider has one of those type of elevators.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I thought floor number 1 was the ground floor. It was not. It was just like this endless hallways of just storage and like extra rooms for like God knows what. But my dumbass, I was on my phone, really didn't pay attention, so I stepped out, started wandering around, and yeah, it's very fucking eerie. You know, I retraced my steps and got back to the elevators, but had I not been paying attention, I would have walked another like 5-10 minutes. I was probably going to be one of those idiots that got lost down there, and there's like no cell phone service down there at all, so it's fucked. But you know, that's just a little side story for that. Going on to the next topic, I know some of you guys were here when we went over it together, but we were going over an old video by a creator that was talking about old school MLP creepypastas, grimdark stories, and just you know, things of that nature. Their name's Izzy's.
Easy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I actually like this content creator. Like, no flack on them at all. Like, they're actually pretty fair when it comes down to the MLP community and a lot of other communities. But you know, I do have my gripes with them. I know Smutty has a little bit more to say than I do, especially about a certain a story. And I'll let you have the floor once we get there. But yeah, do you guys have any like favorite MLP creepypastas or just basically dark stories, or you know, you guys never really like dived into that?
Cupcakes.
Oh Jesus, here we go.
Cupcakes is a classic, man.
Like honestly, if you want a butter creepypasta, like like grimdark from that.
Shock horror, if at most. Anybody?
Honestly, if you like want to butter like grimdark from that era, like the initial like grimdark boom, that had Cupcakes, Big Sweet Apple Massacre, and Rainbow Dad and Rainbow Factory. Honestly, Cheerlee's Garden was pretty fucking good for that time. Honestly, that's one I would recommend from that era. Personally, it's probably one of the better ones of that time period.
Yeah, because that was the question I was gonna ask after, which was basically like, what stories do you think have like passed the test of time? Because at the time, of course, everyone's like, "Oh my god, Cupcakes and Rainbow Factory," but then you kind of go back and you're like, "Okay, this is dumb. This is stupid."
Yeah, it's kind
Well,
of
well,
like it's
Go
kind
on.
of like with some of the old big creepypastas, like what's a good one to pick out?
Oh,
Anybody
like
remember?
Slender Man.
No, specifically like Jeff the Killer, like something like that.
Oh, that was
Especially,
awful.
Oh, like yeah,
yeah, that one
or
is
like,
that one
or like the
has it's definitely not stood the test of time. Uh,
yeah.
I still don't know why we were so spooked about it as kids. Maybe it was Spooky Face.
or like Slender Man.
You remember whenever someone actually killed one of their friends in the name of the Slender Man?
I
It's
think it's
attempted
Yeah.
murder.
yeah.
They didn't die though. It was attempted murder.
Hmm. Well, at least it wasn't a full-on murder, but I don't know if that's much better.
Not really.
Yeah, it was fucking weird though. I mean, granted, it's fucking kids that were influenced by a spooky story on the internet, which has always been a thing, even since before the internet was a thing. Which was, well, that's a different topic once we talk about this one. But anyone else have any like stories that they want to share, or like one of their favorites or anything like that from like back
I
in the day?
I didn't, but I just want to say I think the reason why Cupcakes, Rainbow Factory, and Sweet Apple Massacres are basically the ones that stand the test of time in that era is basically because one, Cupcakes is considered like the OG. Rainbow Factory has a fucking song attached to it with millions of views, and Sweet Apple Massacre is like pure shock value where anyone could basically read it to get like a reaction out of them.
To
But like
me,
the
the
others,
one.
but others don't have that. So like a lot of other like stories from that era have like been kind of lost to time, really. But go on, Drunksky.
To me, the ones that are like pure shock value are like the Sweet Apple Massacre, whatever it's called, and Cupcakes are more. I mean, they're memorable in the sense that, well, they were kind of the first, and that definitely was pretty shocking for the time. But I don't think they, all things considered, are that good outside of that shock value. I mean, it's kind of, that's pretty much their whole thing to them. I mean, some of the better stories, I think, go a bit beyond that to less shock, more creepy, I guess. I mean, not that it's a different sort of creepy, I guess.
Yeah, because I guess my thoughts on it is that even though it kind of depresses me to the core, I can't help but like stories that explore just despair, like the levels that it can get to. Because I feel like that can definitely resonate more, because like eventually shock value wears off and you just don't really feel it as much whenever you've read it so many times. But I think perhaps Rainbow Factory might stand a bit more, simply because, in a way, it conveys that kind of industrial despair where people are routinely ground up by the system in order to feed the system and to have this image of perception that all Pegasi are strong, that no one is weak, and that none cannot fly. It's like my thoughts on it are is that it conveys that sort of thought that an industrial society grinds you up and then spits you out or something like that.
Mhm.
The
Like-
Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the Pegasi race.
Pony
I
Pegasiski, or however the fuck you would say it.
oh no, gotta get that Pega
Yes.
cookie.
My question has always been if they're that like against the impure Pegasi, how the fuck did Derpy survive?
I mean, that is a good question, but then again, creepypastas at the time don't ask these hard-hitting questions.
I guess if she's a good flyer, I guess they don't really care about her other mental shit. I guess.
I guess
Mm.
they only judge by flying. We don't care if you have some severe mental retardation. As long as you can fly in a straight line, you're probably all right.
Honestly,
Yeah,
that makes it even more fucking embarrassing for Skulu. In all honesty,
It's kind of funny though. Imagine if like the only way we judged people in a society is by some very arbitrary metric. Could not be society at all, right? Society bottom text.
Like,
well, I was gonna say that. What was the other story that popped up the other day that when we were talking about this smutty? The other like
Uh,
shock value one about like blue blood kidnapping the CMC.
it was called 120 Days of Blue Blood. It's like a copy of a Italian like exploitation movie where it's like in 1940s like Italy where like this noble family kidnaps and does like all these fucked up things to a bunch of peasants basically. It's basically just a copy of that, but in MLP form with blue blood.
hmm.
Yeah,
I think like
because
what's
it's
oh, please continue. I think I was interrupting y'all.
no, like I was gonna say, I going at a different angle. It's sort of hard to, I guess, make horror for like anything that isn't human necessary. Like I'm gonna go on a little rant here, or not even a rant, like a little. If this is jargon, please tell me and interrupt me. But I find it as a bit of a challenge when it comes to writing horror, when it comes to anything that isn't human, because it's harder to like have empathy for them because it's like, okay, they're not really human. I mean, sure, they have like characteristics of people, but they're not entirely people. People already have a hard time empathizing with others, and you can only imagine how it would be empathizing for like an entirely different like species. But I think for something to be really scary, and why some people like did go overboard was because at the time they didn't know how to like challenge that, so they went for the whole like over the top like cupcakes or sweet apple massacre or 100 days of blue blood or whatever the fuck it was called, instead of like actually grounding something in horror, whether it be body horror or psychological horror or something like that, because it's a bit more challenging. When you read something that specifically pertains to a human being, like the images can pop up in your head of like some nasty, disgusting thing happening in their body, and like worms start coming out of an open wound, and other things are happening. But if it's like a pony, it's a bit harder to like kind of relate to that. I mean, my skin does still crawl when I do see like parasites in like animals' bodies and stuff. But I think when it comes to stories, it's just a bit harder. I don't know if that makes any sense or not.
Well, I think one of the ways that at least I address it is that if I were to write something about something horrible or like something that that sticks with you, the best thing is to not consider them an entirely different species, because once you start doing that, you probably already dehumanize them and don't really empathize with them because being able to at least understand the situation or understanding like that this circumstance would probably be pretty awful if I was in it. I think that's one way that helps me understand like the level of horror that something is, because because often some of the things that happen that really keep me up at night, those things I could imagine it happening anywhere, rather than just being an isolated incident and compartmentalizing it and imagining it'll never happen. Because like if you just try to give several different excuses to yourself and say, oh, that can't happen here, it can't happen to me, it can't happen to these things, they don't matter as much as me. I think it takes away from the proper writing of the horror of it all. At least that's
Mm.
because I feel like I'm also stumbling on my words trying to describe it, but that's at least my thoughts on like how a situation that's really bleak for a fictional character can sometimes resonate with me, even though I'm
Mhm.
fully aware that they're fictional, that they're not even human. But it's sort of like you need to tie some sort of humanizing aspect to them, like their experiences or how they're trying to deal with this unfortunate reality that they're stuck in, or just sort of getting a picture of what horrible things are happening and and just what their thoughts are, because having a proper window into what their world is like during this horrible thing that's happening that's perpetuating this horror, I think that's the best way to convey it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, because speaking of like stories, I didn't actually find this until like rather recently, because I was having a conversation with Smutty about horror, and then grimdark and stuff like that, and then I finally went and searched for this stuff because I don't read fanfics, because I'm usually a person that's on the go, or if I sit down I have like a long session when I'm gaming, I rather listen to something rather than read it. I mean, call me
Yeah.
a weirdo, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I will sit down and read, here and there. But if I can kill, you know, two birds with one stone, like if I have a bunch of errands I gotta run, I can listen to the 1.5 hour fanfic and I'll be happy. But the story that I liked so far, because it was pretty fucking. It was creepy. I liked the creep factor of it. Um, Two, I can see this totally happening in Equestria. Because as we all talked about it before, it's kind of boring when you have, oh, it's just a slasher. It's just Pinkamena, or it's just Fluttershy going crazy, killing like other, like, yeah, it can be good if done right, but there's just been so many fucking stories like that. But like I said, this story got me, and it was a fleeting light in the darkness. That story fucking creeped me out.
Mhm.
And that was a story from 20 wait, 20, was it 2011? Let me see. Nope, December 2012. So it's an old story,
I mean,
but
it's
I think it
still in the
it
golden
holds
age
up.
of the fandom, so you could probably say that it was from around the time where all these hot stories were coming off the presses.
This one doesn't have that many views as much as like the big time stories, though. Like, this one only has 37,000 views, and unlike other stories, it has multiple like sequels of trying to like explain it. I haven't gotten into the second one yet because crucify me now. But I was listening to a Scribbler. I guess you can call it an audio drama for lack of better words, because it felt like I was fucking there. Like all the voice acting, the sounds, and everything, and it was just I actually got spooked. I will tell you right now, I got spooked a couple times. But anyone take the fucking mic from me. I'm talking too much.
I enjoyed the story, and I glanced at the sequels, and
All at once.
they kind of ruined it for me.
What do you mean?
Like, well, I don't want to, because saying why it ruined it for me would spoil them for you. So,
Oh, the story, this specific one.
yeah,
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I think now that I've thought about it, I think at least with other horror media like games, even though there probably hasn't been many good MLP horror games to my knowledge, the sensation that nowhere is safe is probably one of the best ways to keep you on edge. There's no sectioned off safe bright light place and scary dark place. If everywhere can be dangerous or something horrible is there, where you can go from like a nice clean room where nothing bad has happened, and then the next room you go over, there's a slasher scene massacre, or like you can see that there's a dance floor with a bunch of bodies that are laying on it, and then like if you were to go into a different room, you might even see some doctor that has hung himself in his closet for a reason you don't know about until you look, or something like that. I feel that that adds to like a very creepy factor that there's nowhere that is safe for you. There is no place you can hide because everywhere is dangerous and spooky and scary.
Mm, yeah, I like that. I like my favorite type of horror is basically investigation. Like you trying to like put the pieces together, like what the fuck happened,
Yeah.
because it environmental storytelling, if done right, which is only really good in like visual type of media, is just if done right, it could be amazing. There's I mean, it's been out for 20 something years, but Halo 1, when you first combat the flood, you don't know this unknown enemy, and the environment and storytelling is there. It's a dark, you end up in a dark swamp, you know, you don't know what's going on. There's a down ship. You hear a recording saying, like, we don't know what these hostiles are, but they're all over the place. And you're kind of like, in your mind, you're like, oh, this is a new enemy that the Covenant's using or whatever, but still kind of wondering. Um, you see no allies at all, yet you see them on your map. So it's kind of like, wait, what the fuck? Where are they at? Like, where are they going? And it just leads to just building it up, and it just eventually when you get hit by, you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? And I think that's something that those types of stories on the visual side, if done correctly, it could be fucking amazing.
Yeah, because like I like those Japanese horror games done like made using one of those RPG Maker engine, like Course Party or Misao or Math Fodder. Like that's how you do like I think those type of games you could do like horror right when it's like we investigate, and if you encounter like an enemy, and you have no way to defend yourself, you have to like run and hide or something like that. Or if
Mhm.
you've and if you when you're stuck on something, there's always like those type of puzzles you have to solve in order to progress through the story. So
Mhm. Yeah, and I think what ties, like I said, going back to what I said earlier, if it ties in more to MLP, because it's that specific universe, I think that's just the best type of it. That's why, at least for right now, I will read the second and third part of the story, but at least for right now, like having this weird, ominous shadow creature things, it works. At least in this story. Because again, if it was like some serial killer or some random cult thing, it's just like, you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
At least
sometimes,
for right now. Maybe it is a cult or some stupid shit, but at least for right now, what they are is some weird shadow things that go bumping in the night. It works.
I mean,
Works.
I will admit sometimes I like a creepy cult story, but I don't like it to be like Fishman scary cult or something like that, because that gets a bit boring after a while. I kind of like some surreal mysteries, like
Yeah. Or like or like
like uh,
or like
like what's
or
a
if you,
good arch example, like the King in Yellow or something like that.
I will just say that it does kind of get annoying when it's just Cthulhu every single time. Oh, it's Cthulhu. Oh,
or
it's
like
just
like
cosmic horror.
Eldritch horror. Yeah.
Yeah, like if it's like the original Aliens, right? Alien movie. Hold on, let me turn off my air conditioner because I know the stupid thing is fucking recording that sound.
I actually can't hear it at all on my end, so maybe it's just
Yeah. Same
recording
here.
on your end.
All
No,
right,
but like,
I'll be sure to edit that out because I know when my air conditioner is on, the stupid thing captures that noise of buzzing.
I think a good type of horror is like when um it like you always get the feeling that you're being watched, but you don't know exactly where they're coming from.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the primal feelings that you can feel even when you know you're in a safe space. It's probably because it's just been a feeling that's been instinctually hammered into us over the millennia. I would also
The
say that
feeling of being hunted, you mean? Kind of that.
well, yeah,
Kinda.
and that ends up leaving you with the occasional feeling that you're being watched, even if for all you know, there's nothing in your house or
Or
wherever you
is
happen
there?
to be.
Or is
The
there?
the only thing that's watching me is all the government agents on their cameras.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
guess they have nothing better to do than look at some 20-something autist on the internet.
Type of horror that like 20-something-year-old schizo talking about ponies and shit.
Clearly, a very important use of taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, of course. But yeah,
But
I think those kind of stories work because it just it follows the rules of MLP. Now, of course, if you have like a different environment, like oh, this takes place in like Manhattan, then yeah, I guess having a serial killer killing people and all that is possible because you tend to hear a lot more stories like that in bigger cities and stuff. Not to say it doesn't happen in rural areas.
what about like
Yeah,
experimental science horror?
Uh, sometimes
sometimes.
it just devolves into like a bunch of torture porn that just becomes boring whenever it ends up being like that, which is a damn shame.
Yeah.
I
Because
Because I
think
I do like I do like some like biological horror.
it's like zombies or like flesh-eating diseases or something.
Yeah. But when
Yeah.
it's right, only when it's like done right.
yeah,
Mhm.
like I guess it's kind of for all horror. Sometimes it does feel like no matter the genre, you run into like an absolute pile of shit, no matter what. But then there's some examples that are so well executed that it just stays with you.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, this one so far is sticking with me because my creepy stories always involve like fucking shadow people, especially when you go like into the woods with by yourself because you're just a fucking weirdo that does that, and you kind of feel like there's something there, but every time you turn your head, like it barely moves out of sight.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why it hit me.
I mean, there's like a German word that translates to something or like panic in the woods or something like that, I believe. Like
Uh-huh.
you know that sensation whenever you're in the woods and all the noise around you dies down. No birds, no insects, no wind, no leaves, no twigs, nothing.
Mhm.
I think that's like probably one of the classic feelings of dread that builds up.
Yeah, I think that's when it gets fucked though. Because if you're out there, right, and I know we're kind of going all over the place with this topic, but I like it so far. Um, when you're out there and things go quiet, that's when things are bad.
Oh fucking.
I'm just saying, as somebody who's been camping quite a few times and then went to an area that was relatively surrounded by a shit ton of trees that you can literally walk 25 minutes away from the campus and you're in the woods. Yeah, like when you don't hear noises, it's normally a bad sign because something bigger is out there, or at least something that can hurt you is out there, and that's why all the other creatures that tend to be, quote unquote prey animals go quiet. Yeah, something bad might happen, so you might want to start going back home or towards the direction of safety.
No,
Right,
my
like,
fucking god.
like sort of picking up on this whole idea of horror in the woods. I think it's elevated whenever it's winter out because naturally you would assume that there's less places for something to hide, but some of the most horrifying incidents that have happened to real life people have been during winter, and they often create some of the most tantalizing mysteries.
Mm.
In a way, I sort of like it when there's not all of that much explained because it leaves so many
Yeah,
questions.
I mean, kind of going back to like I have the good feeling that you like those openly ambiguous types of stories. Is that a fair guess?
Uh, Pretty much, yeah. I love it whenever a spooky story isn't like so obvious because whenever people like make everything either far too heavy-handed or just explain it as another like something like a like some fucking formulaic thing, like explaining it down to its base elements to where it doesn't need to be. It loses
Mm-hmm.
the teeth that a spooky story can have if it doesn't have at least some ambiguity. Because playing to the fear of the unknown, among other things, is definitely powerful. And some people just feel the need to explain things in depth whenever they really don't need to. Because if you
So
just let something spooky hang in the air and not really explain it too much, it works. It's just some people feel the need to go way too in depth about an explanation.
so is it like, because there was another one which was the name sounds dumb, but the premise was interesting. Um, I mean, of course, it's a straight up like spin off of 28 Days Later. 28 Day. Oh my god, it's a spin off of 28 Days Later, but it's called 28 Pranks Later, right? And it's basically not found footage in a way, but like found tapes. That's how it's written out to be. Um, I would have preferred it. Well, first of all, titled something else. But I'm one of those guys that likes to, I like the stories that have an unknown that cause like a tragedy sometimes, especially when it's like something like that, where like ponies are just dying left and right, but we don't know why. You know, it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm understanding it right, with piecing together what bits and pieces of information, in a way, it's sort of like some people could come to a conclusion that's much more spooky than what the original writer may have intended, and like whenever they don't say too much, it can sometimes make the experience all the more creepy.
Or a good one that's smutty recommended was Winona.
Yeah.
Dude, that one, similar to how we were talking about earlier when you're like piecing a mystery together, right? I think the ones that are like, even if it's, again, if done correctly, like it is like first person point of view. You're trying to put the mystery together, but as you're putting the pieces together, you realize like, oh shit, it's too
Hmm.
individual if we're doing MLP, just ended up in this situation. And now they're dead. And it was something like that for the story of Winona, which again, another story that's been out for such a long time, but it's basically Applejack talking to you, the character, and you're sort of like hearing bits and pieces of the story and then putting like things together, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit. And you're kind of fucked.
Uh-oh.
But yeah. Yeah,
You along with all of Ponyville.
you and almost, yeah, because you kind of figure like, huh, where is everybody? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh,
Mm.
Oh shit. So yeah, those stories also hit me pretty hard. But
J&J is like an unsung hero of Grimdark, in my opinion. I really wish he would get more attention, in all honesty, because his stories are fucking amazing.
yeah, I'm giving
Horror stories involving AJ.
No, just horror stories in general.
yeah. I mean, so far I've listened to 2 of them and they're pretty good, and they're like standalone short stories. They're probably like the better ones because sometimes unfortunately writers lose their spark and they stop writing, and you kind of get left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty you got to be pretty artsy and pretty damn good to write a standalone that could able to fucking freak you out and shit.
Well, I mean, last time I checked his thing, I do remember seeing that he was like challenging himself, making short stories in like a certain amount of hours or something. I believe one of them, he flat out said it took him like less than like 3 hours to write one of them, and he was just doing it as like a mere challenge for himself.
Damn. Huh. Well, kind of going back to our original topic, right, of the creepypastas and grimdark, and also going back to the content creator of Izzy, um, she kind of ends the video. This is where I think she has a bit of like a cold take, but I mean, I understand it's understandable, I guess, if you're viewing it from a certain angle. But she mentions that like, oh, like yes, these stories and video games and like these other forms of media were like a quintessential part of my childhood. And then of course too, she was putting up comments on these videos that were also like kids at the time. You could only think that they were kids saying like, oh my god, how did I get here? Or like, oh, I'm 6 and this is terrifying, like just things of that nature. um and she mentions like, is this like a good thing, you know or something like that, and kind of leaning more towards like it's not, like we shouldn't be like people are like, yeah, like adults shouldn't like necessarily like hijack you know kid fandoms or something. But I think that you know it's sort of an issue in the sense of why talk about it specifically for MLP when other, I guess you can say, like fandoms have done it for other, you know, forms of entertainment that was specifically for kids. Because I mean, we have Lavender Town from Pokemon, we have Ben Drowns from fucking Legend of Zelda. I forget which game it was, but we have like all those other examples of like things that were supposed to be for kids.
Majora's
And oh, okay, Majora's Mask. Um,
Yeah.
and like just you hear a lot of that nowadays. You hear a lot of that nowadays. Like it's not just her, it's other people too. Like oh, you guys need to be careful what you're posting and this and that. Well, at the same time too, it's like maybe these like parents should be careful on what their kids are looking at online.
Yeah, Chris, I seen some of the comments saying that, ooh, I watched this when I was 6. I'm like, where the fuck were your parents at? Like, how's that my responsibility to fucking watch over a fucking 6-year-olds? Like, seriously?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
guess
like,
that's
yeah,
kind of
it
the
kind of
mindset
pisses
that
me
those
off
people have, though, isn't it?
because yeah, it kind of pisses me off where like parents have like this fucking self entitlement where like like whether like a hobby or like a fandom should like fucking bend the knee to be like fucking family friendly bullshit. Like it's like because it's your job to be a parent, not ours. We're not fucking babysitters.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's really annoying because whenever I rewatch a lot of the older like adult MLP shit, very various shit. It's just now it's just filled with fucking kids saying how they watched this when they were 10 instead of actual discussions. It's very fucking annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting hot topic, I think, because again, it goes back to other games that were predating MLP, um, and other like games and stories and even comic books. I mean, you go way back to how comic books were supposed to be written.
Yeah.
You know, Captain America was straight up killing Nazis, but oh, this is for kids. But then people are like, well, you know, we're not supposed to have violence. I'm like, yeah, but back then he was actually killing Nazis. Like, I'm not saying like that's
Yeah.
not a good thing, but I'm saying like,
Honestly, if only we can go back to like the 90s of being dark and gritty in like shows or cartoons or comics or whatever.
yeah, because it was the same thing for the Joker. Because the Joker, when they were originally created as a character, it was a pretty dark story. But then I think they lightened it up a little bit during the 70s and 80s. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, comics were seen as something that was supposed to be only for kids and this and that. But I think the audience, when making something of like a fandom creation,
I mean, let's think about it. Cartoons used to be about like, I mean, it used to be for adults, you know, like, for example, the Looney Tunes, like early Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, and fucking Mickey Mouse or some shit or something.
mhm.
Because I remember, because like I think one of the earliest episodes of the Looney Tunes I saw was like fucking Daffy Duck, like was fighting in World War II and was fucking fighting the Nazis and some shit like because you know back then you know it was just like all you know
Like
fucking
propaganda.
satire. Yeah, it was propaganda. So I was like, you know, if a kid saw that, dude, like, you know, you might get like, I don't know, fucked up or something.
I mean, at the same time, too, if you really want to get down to this, and I don't want to misquote Lauren, but wasn't her like initial plan for G4 specifically was to make it so everyone can enjoy it?
Yeah, I think so. I
Like,
think
wasn't that her original like vision for this show, or am I like going crazy?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Like, anyone
yeah.
can speak up here. Like, if you guys know
I
something that I
mean,
don't.
if the writing was good, that even adults can enjoy it, I'm guessing that's the case. Because like, why else would you like not like what? Why else would you spend like a lot of time and effort of writing like and directing episodes that like have like a very that brought a huge wide audience, you know, like a you know that actually profited off like fucking millions of dollars or some of Badly Productions.
Yeah, because yeah, like again, I'm sure I heard it a few times when I'm listening to like these old YouTube documentaries about specifically like the Brony phenomenon. But a lot of those interviewers often, not interviewers, but those that are creating these documentaries. Did I say documentaries? I could have sworn I said documentaries. Maybe I said a different word. But going back to what I was saying, they always make these documentaries and then they often like cite that as if Lauren said that. I'm not 100% sure, but it's been said so many times that I think it's true, where she said that she specifically made this show for everyone to enjoy. And another cartoon, because again, this argument always gets thrown around by people like, oh, MLP was only made for girls, and this and that. I'm like, sure, maybe like the G, like okay, G1. Going back and watching that, it was pretty fucking metal. I don't know. Has anyone else watched G1 or know of it at least?
Yeah, I have.
Like, you know, fucking ponies are actually dying in that show,
Yeah.
or being like forcefully transformed into the gargoyle things. So fucking T-Rex can use them as a chariot or some bullshit. I don't know what the fucking weird bullshit storyline thing was, but it was pretty fucked. I mean, granted, it's 80s cartoons, so a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of it was comically evil, and like other things were bad, but
I mean,
so
have you seen G1 Transformers?
oh yeah, like they're actually fucking dying and then getting cut in half and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's pretty fucking metal. Like I think it both, you know, boys and girls could have watched that show growing up. And it's the same thing for G2, because G2, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was made with the audience in mind that they grew up. Because if you watch G2, it's basically about teenagers and like growing
Growing
up
up.
and like dating and all this other shit. Because like, you know, there's a whole skating rings and then them drinking, you know, shakes with their dates at these diners and asking each other out and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, that's kind of also, I think, a show for both boys and girls in a way, you know, because it's kind of a coming of age type of things of like the weird corporate media trying to like figure out like how the hell, you know, these young folks are dating now or whatever the fuck. Because it's pretty cringy. I will say
Yeah.
that.
I
It's
mean, it still basically is that to this day. It's just different now. Just
yeah,
more fringy.
Well, yeah, it's because any corporate exec is so out of touch with how the average person lives. Because do you really think they're going to sit down and actually try to see the lived experiences of regular people? Fuck no. They're just going to hide out in their little fucking secluded gated community where other rich people live. They ain't going to get down and actually see something to understand the lived experience, to actually, write something that is sort of memorable and relatable to people. But then again,
mhm.
sometimes they have other people that do that job better than them.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, G1 metal as fuck had a foundation of like magic and, you know, creatures and you know, ponies getting killed and all this kind of stuff. In a way, kind of like a a D&D session of the 80s, you know, wizards riding on unicorns and blasting goblins. Like that's fucking metal, bro. I'm sorry. That's fucking metal.
I mean, I don't know about you, but it would be rad if we could have more shit like that rather than, padding it out with some weird fucking bullshit.
I would rather watch a well-written story about a wizard riding a fucking unicorn blasting goblins and orcs than fucking the Avengers part 65 Captain America goes to fucking beauty school. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
I guess it's mostly just the sequelization is probably especially annoying because
Or
like people will like alarmingly obsess over the same things for a long time. Perhaps I'm not one to talk, being a member of the Marshmallow Horse fandom, but at the same time, it just gets so exhausting seeing the same rehashed concept over and over and over and over and over and over again. It just loses the magic whenever.
Yeah, yeah, because I think where the misconception comes that this was purely like a show for girls was like G3. Because G3 was awful through and through. I
As hey, as much as Jenny would disagree with you there.
well, I mean, they dumbed the characters down so much. I mean, don't get me wrong, the characters are pretty dumb in G2, but at least in G1, it's like, dude, we have to save our friends. Like they're being captured by this like fucking 80s over the top villain. We have to save our friends, or you know, all this kind of other stuff. G2 is like, haha, we're in this weird like mirror alternative dystopia world where we just have to, like the biggest villain is like not having a date for prom or something. And then G3 is just like they're like high off their fucking asses, like just wandering around in meadows and shit. Like it's like what the fuck is going on?
I mean,
You
if
know?
that came out around the 80s or 90s, then it would definitely be fitting because everybody was high as fuck at that point in time.
Oh no, G3 came out like
Like,
early 2000s.
yeah, early 2000s. That's
You
when it came out.
know, that was G3. Like G3 was just fucked. I mean, if you guys ever want to just watch a little bit of it, it was just weird. Like I wouldn't be able to watch it and sit down and watch it because it's been so dumbed down. Similar to a lot of like other shows, like where specifically for boys, you know, it was so dumbed down where it's just like, oh, explosions equals cool. It's like, no, I want stories of struggle and these characters like having to fucking solve issues and stuff like that. You know, And then G4 comes around, which again had this weird, and some fucking 20 something years later, we might be still talking about the magical little fucking horsies. But, we're all here because of that. And it's just like, what the fuck happened? And it was written so well though,
Yeah.
the first
And
seasons.
honestly, I kind of wish for like upcoming series pony series would talk about like touch subjects about like death and losses of like family members and shit like that, like real life stuff, and how to cope with that, like in the healthy way manner.
Yeah, because I think that's definitely something a lot of people have had to deal with that probably impacts them quite a wee bitty bit.
Yeah. Like none of that holding punches or some shit,
Yeah, like I imagine that eventually people would get
'Cause
tired of
we never
Noodle and
really-
Beanface, because I think that's definitely something a lot of people tend to complain about whenever they think about shit cartoons in the modern age.
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk about that, we're probably gonna be here for like hours. But
Oh yeah,
it's
maybe that's a bit of a tired thing to complain about.
yeah, because I mean, if we want to go on to a second topic here, the G5 special was just.
And I mean, yeah. While being on the subject, like for a little quick, I just fucking hate the fucking 3D like computer generated animation. Can we just go back to like fucking hand drawn animation, dude, instead of just fucking lazy computer? I mean,
unfortunately, and I said this before, it's been killed because of Shrek. Shrek killed the traditional Western animation business because of how much it made. And they realized, like, wow. Like, I'm not saying that 3D stuff is easy to make or it's the lazy man's, animation, because no, if you actually put your
yeah.
Sorry. I'll go again. If done right, 3D animation could be fucking awesome. Just to throw out some examples, if you ever saw the Astartes series, that was done pretty much 3D.
Oh yeah, it was pretty much entirely 3D to my understanding.
Exactly, and it was done right. This guy, he did it 3D. I think it's either Loss of Hope or Death of Hope. I sound like a fucking heretic for not remembering the names of these animations, but exactly, like those animations were done by one guy, and yet we get G5, an entire fucking animated team with God knows how many resources, and we get G5. Like, what the fuck happened?
I honestly don't know. Perhaps it's just a problem of big businesses both being completely passionless about whatever work they're doing.
Yeah.
And like because they have so much money that they don't give a shit. They could fucking like piss money into the wind and not even care.
Yeah,
I fucking hate this industry.
It's just so tiresome because people could make something good if they wanted to, but because it's just better to make something that you really don't care about because you could just deliver whatever the hell you want to your shareholders, and so long as it's at least tolerable to pin the agreement to, you don't really care. So long as viewership and money goes up, you really don't care about the quality.
I will even put on the screen while I'm editing this, like, examples of, it's called Death of Hope and Astartes, done by one fucking guy with no money. As far as I know, Astartes, he wasn't making any money because he couldn't, because GW is notorious for fucking sending their legions of lawyers to kill your fucking projects. Like they're worse than Hasbro.
Yeah, that they will cut off your balls, legally speaking.
Yes, but if
you cut off.
Okay, I keep cutting off. I'm sorry. I'm going schizo mode, and it's affecting the Wi-Fi. That's how passionate I am about this.
Lovely.
Because because it goes back because it upsets me because there's people out there that are like, this isn't a show for you. This isn't a show for you. Like, why do you care? And then we give our reasons why we care, and then they're like, dude, it's just a kid's show. It's like, motherfucker, what do you want?
Clearly not
I
for
don't-
people to acknowledge how shit their show is.
I don't think those sort of people have any sort of like, I don't know, anything they get passionate about in their lives. I don't know. Maybe I'm being critical there, but that's what it sounds like to me when you encounter those short.
Dude, I'll go so far and say that they're just bread tubers. Not in the political sense, but the people that will just say like certain topics to make their certain amount of Patreon bucks or whatever the new subscription pay thing is.
I think one of them Subscribe Star, but I don't know if it's any different.
It's Subscribe Star is one of them, Coffee's one of them, but I mean that's not the point. The point is they're gonna say something safe so they don't have anything critical, and honestly, I'll just go out and say it. It's pretty damn insulting because you're basically saying like the people that are watching this aren't
And you cut off.
what they're watching, what
Yeah,
they're seeing.
that-
And I cut off.
Yeah, that's probably going to like really start activating your almonds before long, isn't it?
It is. I'm getting even more angry because of that. What I was trying to say was that I think it insults their audience that they're not even scratching the surface when it comes down to analyzing these kind of things. You know? Because any type of media, whether it's a game, comic, or story,
Yeah.
you have these people that, yes, some of them are pretty damn good, and I think they do, that they do earn the Patreon bucks. But then you have other people that are just giving you the most safest criticisms, for lack of a better word, and they still make the same amount of money, if not more, because they're popular because of something they did like years ago, or the biggest one, it's a girl. Like, not that I don't want to be that guy, but let's just be honest here. A lot of these topics and nerdy topics and geek culture and everything was mostly guys. A lot of the girls way back then were the people that were making fun of these guys. So
they kind of realized they could make more money from simp bucks than just making fun of them.
Yeah.
Which they probably still do behind
Pretty
their
much.
backs,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
hey, you got to make your money somehow, honey.
Yeah. Especially with like being a VTuber is like a trendy and new thing. A lot of like all these e-girls are fucking trying to make bank out of it.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
blame them. Frankly, if I had a good enough voice changer, I'd probably try doing the same shit to make even more money.
No, and exactly. Like, I mean, go ahead. Like, go ahead and tap into that fucking oil well, but at the same time, do not come out of nowhere, out of the fucking woodwork, and tell me how things are supposed to be when you weren't even there while all this stuff was being created, and then, other people at the time were enjoying it, but you were the fuckers that were, like, bullying these kids.
Yeah, like you think you know better than them just because
There's always people like that. They like to believe that they're the ultra high IQ arbiters of what people should be, or what things ought to be in other circumstances. Honestly, those are some of the people I despise the most, because they're these people that sit up on their fucking high horse, all like, "Oh, I believe that this thing will make things better because I am a very smart person. Look at me. I am going to school. Go fuck yourself."
Your little inner goblin's gonna.
It's like, I don't know where you found a horse that high, but get the fuck off it. It's not good for you. You have to get down at some point.
The horse is scared. It's gonna fall too. It's not just you. It's also the horse.
Yeah, get the horse off those platform shoes.
Yeah.
It's not healthy for a horse to be wearing that. It's probably messing up his hoofsies.
Yeah. I mean, you can call me out for anybody, but what's it called? you can call me hypocrite or whatever, because I guess it could be kind of on the same plane, but I'm actually for gatekeeping now.
What?
I'm for gatekeeping now.
I
Like,
mean,
I wasn't before. I wasn't before. I was like, yes, people, please come in. I want you guys to have these experiences with these things that I grew up with and enjoyed, and basically helped, in a way, as much if it's only like a little speck of assistance, but help these things to continue on. But now it's kind of like,
I mean, I've been pro gatekeeping for like a long time, so
I've always thought gatekeeping's a good thing because it helps keep the bad shit that ends up ruining fandom to begin with. So yeah,
yeah, because
because
yeah, because it keeps out like all the fucking posers. So
well, I mean, like there's going to be crazy people or people with
regardless, yeah,
absolutely shit takes that'll get into anything because they're like vermin that spread. It's just a sad fact of life that you have to put up with people like that.
obviously, I don't think we should be like overly fucking autistic with it though, because I think that's gonna do more damage than
Well,
good,
yeah,
in my
like
opinion.
of course, I will say that mostly gatekeeping has probably been a traditional thing in a bunch of nerd hobbies because usually, at least in the past, nerds have been belittled, bullied, and cast out from where their usual spaces are. And so it's only natural that they gatekeep away the people that they see as having caused them a lot of grief and bullied them out of other spaces because hey, it's their own space. They get to do whatever they want with it. But
mm,
since nerd culture is hip and groovy and jiggy with it now, it means that
I,
other people want in on the nerd culture shtick because it makes them hip, cool, and jiggy with it.
I mean, I fucking blame it on the fucking Big Bang Theory, that
Bazinga!
and and the IT crowd. I fucking blame the shows for like popularizing geek culture.
Yeah,
Think
that's
think
kind of been
think
like
think of
one
this
of the
for a moment. If it wasn't for the Big Bang Theory, we would have never would have gotten Mudbriar.
I don't know, man. That's sounding like an ideal future to me. You're only giving me more reasons to hate the Big Bang Theory.
exactly.
Exactly. When did I ever say want that was a bad thing? That's a fucking base thing.
I Yeah, like I'm all for like a sort of like natural growth and interest. And don't get me wrong, some of these things. What?
I was saying that I think you were just pausing mid sentence to like collect your words, but
Oh.
maybe I'm just schizoing and pretending that.
Oh no, it's okay. I didn't say that much. I was just saying like I'm all for like a natural growth of interest, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I guess it's also a good thing to have certain things popularized because I wouldn't know about it if these people didn't talk about it, you know?
Right.
And again, like I know it sounds hypocritical because then it sounds like I'm a fucking hipster when it goes on the other end and people are like, "Oh,
Yeah, because like, what's a good way of saying it? Because like I can generally understand that you don't want something to be like so isolated that's going to die a slow, painful death from lack of interest.
yeah."
But at the same
True.
time, at the same time, you don't want the most base, mindless, drooling, impotent, soy-faced consumoid to be there too. Because then you have the problem of like companies appealing to to the people that'll buy just about fucking anything so long as it has that label, which kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
it's sort of how it is with some folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're onto something there. Cuz
Like anything, gatekeeping is a delicate balance. You don't want to be too autistic with your gatekeeping, because then you end up creating a problem in which your community dies the most slow, agonizing, painful death that at that point nothing can avert.
You should have a thing where there's requirements, but if you make it painfully clear that if you want to learn and if you're not going to be a fucking idiot, that you can be welcomed here. I think you should lay it out, but still be welcoming. I think that's how you should do it personally.
Oh yeah, like you have to have at least some expectations for people, especially if it's in your space. Because if you have no expectations, normally that's how I look at other people, because I'm just a cynical bastard. But
It's it's sort of like all okay, kind of a little bit sort of different topic, but kind of like the manga that we're working on, right? Like all ideas are welcomed,
just
but
don't.
that doesn't mean like we're gonna change literally everything to appease one person.
Yeah, like you have to at least work with other people. You have to acknowledge that they're that they have valid ideas. You have to realize that, is this stupid? Is this smart? Is this something that reads like from a poorly made doujin or something? Or it's like you have to at least have some self awareness whenever you're
Yeah,
doing
you know,
something.
because there are, uh, yeah, and I again like what you said. It's very delicate when it comes down to it. Like it's the amount of gatekeeping can also be a back the sorry the amount of gatekeeping can also backfire onto your community.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's not like you want to have like zero expectations for your community. You have to at least have some sort of healthy lifestyle for people in the community. You can't just go around saying that, for this community, we need to invite everyone or no one, because at that point you either get the most like slovenly, disgusting, like consumoids that can't really do anything good with it other than like say,
Oh,
I will rehash
or
Avengers, but with Star Wars and Star Trek and whatever other
or like
things
like
I'm
the fucking
interested in.
normies.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's another way to put it. Normies, get out of my safe space. Re.
Sorry, I was saying before I cut out there. To me and Doctor Death, something that's very near and dear to us was attacked, you know, and that was Berserk.
Oh yeah,
Because Twitter, first of all, Berserk's been around since like the 1996, 1997. Well, the initial art was 80s. Yeah, the initial
yeah,
art was 80s. But then,
yeah.
like, the full on series, when it started, like, actually, like, taking, you know, a bigger shape. I mean, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong there. 20 plus years later, oh my God, am I cutting out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cutting out's getting really bad,
Fuck.
but
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
because the
Yeah.
anime came out in like '97.
Yeah, you know what? I let me restart this, right? Because I don't want to be wrong here, because then I'll look like a fucking idiot. Maybe that's what I'm getting those dates wrong. But
Yeah.
let me look it up real quick. Berserk manga debut.
I mean, shit, hasn't it been around since like the 80s or something?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
the prototype came out in 1988, but then the official thing apparently came out in the early 90s. Yep, 90.
Yeah.
90,
Okay.
literally 1990 it came out in
Huh.
November.
Okay.
So back to what I was saying, right? Gatekeeping could be a good thing because you get certain people that are in these communities that research this content and enjoy this content, right? Because I honestly, the first time I ever heard from Berserk was from word of mouth. I was at a comic store. I was like, "Hey, is there anything that's kind of close to like Warhammer 40K?" Because that's when I was, you know, really nerding out over it. And they're like, "Not really, but I mean, if you want something more like the medieval type, that's like, you know, this one man army dude going against demons and shit, you're gonna like Berserk." And I was like, "But Berserk, what is that?" And you know, I freaking read the first manga there, and I was like, "Dude, this is fucking awesome." And he's like, "Yeah, go watch the anime. It's free on YouTube." And that night, I watched the entire anime. It's still on YouTube to this day. It never
Yeah.
got taken down. It's English dub. I think the full one is English dub, but I mean, I don't mind the English dub. It's actually voiced
Yeah.
pretty damn well. The music's fucking phenomenal. But
Yeah.
yeah, something that came out in 1990 got they try to cancel it in 2021.
No, this year.
Oh, I thought it was 2021.
No, it was like a couple months ago, actually. Like, some fucking Twitter tards started, like, cancel it because they fucking
Yeah.
found out about, like, I'm like,
Good
bruh.
heavens, something that I consider offensive in the show? Well, well, where are my smelling salts? And I am gonna go clutch my pearls.
Gee, there's a warning rating that says it's 18 plus. What's that mean?
Oh, yeah.
Are these people like
Why are they trying to cancel Berserk
incapable of realizing
exactly?
that that if they can't handle the 18 plus, that they might not want to be reading this or watching it?
Yeah.
Because it
Well,
sounds like they only want to watch like wholesome Chungus 100 shit for kids.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, no, yeah, and
Sorry.
what fucking pisses me off was like how some of these fucking retards like say like, oh yeah, well, I'm glad that the fucking Arthur fucking passed away, rest in peace or some shit. I'm like, fucking hell, like that fucking pissed me off so much. Yeah,
About a bunch of soulless people. I
they
mean,
are.
they'd probably say that to anyone because, especially if they have either views they
But
disagree with or some
but
other
but yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, because fucking being an anonymous person online, you can shit talk about anything and anyone, but you can't say it in front of a person in real life because they know they're gonna get this shit kicked in.
Oh yeah, they. I don't know. I think it's like in these social media echo chambers. It gets really bad because they get so used to like people feeding into their inflated sense of self online.
Oh, yeah, the fucking fragile ego.
Yeah,
Well, I
like
mean, they
what's
specifically want, and I think, and this could be a hot take here or a cold take, whatever you guys want to think of it, but I just don't like those platforms because those people are making specific takes so they can get followers, right? And it could be either side. They could say something extremely controversial on either side. I don't care whether it's pro or against,
it's literally like pro scub, anti scub.
but they make
But
those accounts because they want that attention. And
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, like I think it's just dumb, that going back to the way topic of gatekeeping, as well as like, certain things for certain people, um you know as somebody that's invested so much time now into the Berserk, and then now using that art style to hopefully one day draw, it does piss me off. People that like literally know nothing about the story, but they were just given like a few, panels and stuff of like, oh, this is what happened, without like knowing any of the context. Is just, that's upsetting.
Yeah.
And it goes with any type of form of media, because it's the same thing with MLP. If we're gonna like tie this back to MLP, you have people that I personally think that didn't even finish the show, right? Because a lot of these people that are like big now didn't even finish the damn show, yet they still have their hot takes on the show, and especially on the fandom itself, the fandom that fucking gave them their platform and built them to where they're at now. That's a hot take right there for you.
yeah, because like I don't know, it's really stupid that like people just feel the need to like do all that shit, even though it's utterly unnecessary with either themselves getting into like a like moral paroxysms over something stupid or feeling the need to insult other people for no good reason.
Yeah, or cry out for like a censorship, like the fuck.
It's just I guess it's just a symptom of living in current year because I don't know, like I don't know if it's like some real NA education moment or if it's that people just have been like forced to start seeing things that way because that's all they see, that's all they consume, it's everything that matters to them at this point.
It kind of going to what I was saying, like, what upsets me is that we have individuals, right? Even going all the way back to the whole like grimdark slash creepypasta, topic. Yes, we're gonna have individuals like that in any group or fandom that are gonna draw or write out like their specific niches because that's the flavor of the month that they're into, so they're gonna do that. or that's just their general interests, and they've stuck in around, ever since way back when. But if they're in their own space, doing their own thing around other people, why do you care?
I guess
And,
it's
and I know that can sound hypocritical because I can do that sometimes with certain people, but as long as you're not trying to shove these ideas and like things down my throat or trying to force it into other people's like spaces, who gives a shit? And like
it's
you're
probably because they see things as like grand moral crusades, and that they're saving the world by spreading their enlightened bullshit around. Which really
yeah,
pisses me off because often these people are very nasty, horrible people. But I guess maybe it's a guilty conscience or some shit like that, where they have to feel the need to police others because either they have like some serious failings of their own, or they
Yeah.
just get a kick out of power on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the South Park movie, but like 2022 version.
Which one was that? Was that the COVID
The
movie?
no, the longer, bigger, uncut.
The uncircumcised South Park movie?
Yeah, the like I don't know, yeah, because like I don't know if you ever saw the movie. It's like the one with like Kyle's mom tries to like ban Canada
I don't know. That sounds pretty based.
because Canada economy relies on like two comedians, that and they try to ban them because like it's offensive towards children or some kind of stupid reason like that. And that's like the vibe I get of like all these fucking people on social media. They act like over religious Christian parents from the 90s, except they're like far left,
Well,
or
actually,
something
I
like
was
that.
I was actually about to say this is that these people that are getting their panties in a wad over things they don't like with some moralistic panic. It
Yeah,
actually really reminds me of people that it reminds me of the Puritan attitude that I know probably still persists at least in the New England area, but it probably is across like certain areas of the country where they have like this very uptight moralistic view of the world, and they often look down upon others and bash them for not following the same kind of moral code as a Puritan would. Like I don't remember all the aspects of it, but there really are some people that devote themselves to like they're the modern day Pharisees in a way, where they try to appear righteous at least in public, but they could be some of the most nasty, awful people once the lights go off.
I mean, a good example of this, and I'm just gonna leave this topic dead after this because I don't want to get into it that much. But he who should not be named was trying to crusade on Twitter and label the Brony fandom that's left, right? And by left I mean like members that are still around. He was trying to basically like paint them as just a bunch of like racist and homophobics and like all the buzzwords you can say. Yet
Well, yeah,
this was the
it's a
same
competition, and we're winning by having the most ists applied to us.
I mean, I know there are plenty of individuals that wear them like medals, but that's neither here or there. But I just find it very funny that this was the same individual that was like, into Cub as well as like full con. So it's just kind of like,
Of course.
yeah, so I was just I was just kind of like, okay, buddy, like you don't have any like, the implications of it. We can argue about that, but this man, his RPs were leaked, and it was just like, bruh, uh,
Bruh.
a little suspicious, may I say? Like,
Homie acted a
but
little unwise.
yeah. So I'm just gonna leave that there. leave that there because I think we spent a lot of time on that topic. But I would like to revisit it some other time about other things. But I also watched it here. At least have seen the reactions of it. But personally, I didn't like it. I really didn't. The animation just looks weird.
Oh, like the
po-
art for the new like the new horse
Oh no,
show.
they got a full on special.
Oh,
It's on Netflix.
was it animated in a similar way? I admit I don't pay that
It's
much attention to it because I like to have fun in my own spaces rather than be reminded that something bad exists.
Well, imagine if you will. You remember the Jimmy Neutron movie?
I actually don't. I only remember the show, and that's usually
Wow.
when Jimmy was
Okay.
brain blasting.
Oh wow. Oh well, I was gonna use the example of like how the movie was done. You know, a lot more attention to detail, more budget, so it looked a little bit better compared to the show itself. Because
Yeah.
the show itself, as much as I love it and it's near and dear to my heart,
Oh yeah, it looks like fucking ass cheeks.
it wasn't there.
Yeah, we didn't get your reaction, like your exact words. I'm just assuming that you were meaning like, holy shit, this show looks like ass.
It's more of like uncanny. It was uncanny. It had those moments where I was just like, dude, what the fuck am I watching?
I would say
So
that it's kind of like it's like the Oblivion of shows. Everybody loves it, and it has boundless meme potential, but it looks like everything's in a thin layer of butter.
yeah, it just something ain't right. That's all I'm gonna say. But that's basically the premise of the G5 special, and possibly that's how the show's gonna look. I don't know if I think they're not going back to 2D, but I could be wrong. I don't know. It's hard for me to be in G5 threads because there are just individuals in there that are just defending it wholeheartedly and are willing to die on that hill. And I'm just like, either you guys are trolling or just being contrarian because for the sake of being a contrarian.
I don't know
But
if they do end up having animation similar, or at least what's it? Wasn't it like Rainbow Road Trip or something where they had like some pretty good horse animations and that had kerfuffle in it?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
and that was done. That was done afterwards. But like I was saying, that's the G5 special where they
they could just make it to an anime.
yeah,
fuck.
they basically dumbed everything down, right? So it's all dumbed down. And the voice acting, of course, they had to change the voice actors because you know they weren't going to be spending all that money again.
Of course not.
I mean, I guess
the
it's kind of hard to
animation,
find good voice actors on a budget, huh?
I guess the animation itself is also just uncanny. The ponies colors, bro.
With the
It's like
fucking with the fucking villain at the end looking like she's like wearing like a full body latex suit.
I
yeah,
think
it was
some
just
people have actually
weird.
joked that she has like ridiculously big lips or something like that.
Well, everyone's calling the villain like a guy, so you can you can only imagine where
like a
that's
pony in
going.
drag, like Big Mac.
Yeah, basically. You
Yeah, because
know, just
like it looked fine, but at certain angles, I don't know if it was the lighting or not, but it looked like she had like big lips for no real reason.
well, they gave like the ponies like weird, like just so many different anatomical changes. It's fucking weird, man.
Yeah, I don't know, it's a little weird, but at the same time,
Here, I'll
I
give
guess
you.
Hasbro has been doing the G4 for so long, they have no idea what style they actually want to use.
I will give you an image of the villain, and that's what they look like. It just doesn't look right.
Ugh.
It just looks like they're like wearing a fucking full body suit. Honestly, doesn't even look like the real coat to me. Honestly,
Like, in a way, I like the lighting of the picture. The lighting feels pretty damn nice, but at the same
Kind of
time,
reminds.
the ponies are like in a very weird way. Like, if I were to compare the lighting, it reminds me of this one level in Dead Space 2 where you're going through the Church of Unitology, like stained glass areas. Those are outright inspired with their use of lighting.
It kind of reminds me of one of those glitch out like games. Like those fucking buggy video games.
Mm-hmm.
I play them.
Yeah, yeah. It fucking looks like a cheap ass game.
I will admit, I could probably have a better scene in Kenshi than in this.
Go into like the fucking video game. I think has slightly better animation than the fucking special.
Yeah,
and that's saying something because the colors aren't even right on the fucking characters.
God, imagine they made if they had the budget and make animation similar to the new Chip and Dale movie.
Oh Jesus Christ, no!
Oh, the Chip and Dale movie has awful animation for the 3D or the 2D characters. It's so fucking ugly.
I guess it's because like for 2D animation, it's just a skill that's atrophied so hard in the days of 3D CG that it's kind of like it's a bit of a lost art unless you look for specific people that are really hardcore 2D animation dudes.
I have only met one person that I've encountered that is specializing in 2D animation.
I imagine that
Never.
that there could be like a really untapped market for 2D animation because maybe this is just me and I don't know how the kiddos in the modern age like their shows because I mean if you put a toddler in front of a TV they don't fucking care. It's just like stuff to keep them busy if you're too busy to be an actual parent.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I feel that
Mm.
any kid that isn't like 3 would appreciate something that isn't like weird and creepy because you can only have so many like weird Johnny Test-esque shows before it just gets dull. And I imagine if you turn the TV on and only see Noodle Limb Beanface, you'd probably also get exhausted too because
yeah.
as a man much wiser than me once said, familiarity breeds contempt.
Mm. I mean, it's just everything about the show. I get it that they're trying to do something new, which isn't that bad or anything like that, but even myself watching the movie for the third time on my own, I was just kind of like, why did they choose these specific models? Like, why did they choose the way how they move and this and that? Like, the colors were okay, the voice acting was fine, some of the songs were decent, but it's just I don't know. Maybe what you just said. Like, I'm just so used to the G4 style that it's just I can't see it in any other way.
Oh yeah,
Even
like
though
sometimes we develop like strong, perhaps unreasonable attachments to some things, but in the sense of like other things, if we see the same style repeated over and over again among so many different companies, it ends up becoming like just horribly exhausting because you just get so tired of seeing the same things that
I
it just exhausts you after a while. At least that's my hot take on it.
there is a manga artist, right? I'm pretty sure Dr. Death knows. The creator of JoJo, Araki himself said that your art style needs to evolve over time in order for your, manga to continue to survive, which I can wholeheartedly agree because even though I am a fan of the original of part 1 Phantom Blood and then
Part. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like Part 3's art style, but then I think Part 4. Yeah, Part 4 art style was like peak JoJo.
it kind of I think in that weird way, since that's really the only thing I can compare it to that has like a long lasting line of like different styles and changes and everything like that. Like
Oh god.
the anime itself, I honestly would have appreciated seeing the show use part 1 and part two's anime no, sorry, part 1 through three's style a lot more.
Yeah.
Part 5 and part 6 it just looks like unfinished drawings, in my opinion. But that's just me because the art literally just looks smudgy. Like if
Yeah,
somebody
that, that
accidentally like smudged black ink on the characters.
yeah, that was kind of my reaction for like part 5. Like I just wasn't a fan of like this new like change of art style. It's like it seems a little not clunky. It's I guess it can be clunky, but it's more like uh a little stiff, you know.
Again, it's more of it's in my opinion it's more of they dropped like black ink and the person accidentally like smudged it over and over. But in terms of like G5, it, they just don't look like pony enough for me, and that again that's just me.
Yeah.
All of the characters, they just the colors don't look right because it seems like they dulled, if that's a word. Kind of like
Dull, yeah.
it's kind of like they made the colors just they switched the palettes and everything, and it's like what the fuck,
Yeah.
you know? So it's just kind of like what's going on here, and
I guess another good way of saying it just doesn't feel right or something like that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh my god. Of course, hot takes are coming out. Flash MLP on 4chan hates it. That means it must be good.
Which one?
I'm going to the G5 thread while we're talking about it.
Oh,
that's actually a really nice picture where like at least a good few of the grill Hanses are at what I imagine is like a Pony Burger King or something, and
The
fan art, the fan
yeah,
art.
the fan art.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really nice.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying. Like, I'm so used to that style. I mean, that's not entirely G4 style. Like, I can see the changes there.
It at least has
And if it was
stylistic
done like,
differences.
yeah,
Well,
like
it's
if
just
it,
like, it's just like when you have like talented artists drawing out like characters, they look like they have soul to them. But like when you try to do like clunky 3D, it doesn't have the same passion
But
as
like I said,
like
I imagine there's probably like some very nice 3D, much like that one Warhammer 40K videos guy.
yeah.
But most companies don't want to put that in because
No,
there's
yeah,
they,
because
they probably see it in the lens of people saying it's just a children's show. Does it really matter that much?
well, yeah, but because most companies, they basically treat animators like in their they're in a sweatshop or something like that.
They're just like some different flavor of wagey to them.
Yeah, like you know,
I
they don't
think,
care. Like they don't care like the quality as long as it makes money. That fucking sucks.
Well, yeah,
I think this
that's just how
image.
companies are because like not to go too far on a tangent, but it's always weird when people ask companies like their opinions. A company doesn't have a fucking opinion. A company is there to make money. What the hell do you think they're going to say to you? Do you think they're going to say
Mhm.
something that contradicts your worldview so you aren't going to shop with them anymore? Of course not. They're gonna say whatever is necessary so you can keep buying their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I posted an image that I think kind of explains it. It's a cute show about ponies doing cute things, and then it's a show about cute ponies, and then now
Show.
you kind of get down, which I agree with. I mean, I'm not gonna full heartedly like defend the show at 100% because it does have its flaws. Especially when they kind of started peering more towards like completely forgetting the mystique of Equestria, which I think was like the worst idea they could have done. Because that I think the reason why a lot of people enjoyed the first 3 seasons is because there was still like a mystery to Equestria. There was still a lot of unknown to it, and like we were sort of going towards the direction of like exploring and finding out these secrets and everything like that. But then for whatever reason, we got fucking phones and technology and all this other crap that came into the show all of a sudden, which kind of killed the artistic and vision of the show. I mean that's my take on that. That's why I think I enjoy the later seasons. Sorry, I don't enjoy the later seasons as much. It does have their gems in the rough, but wait, yeah, it has their diamonds in the rough. Sorry, I said it wrong.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well, how would Barrera
Season 4
think positively of you for confusing gemstones?
I don't know, man. She's
Season
probably
4,
fucking hate me.
yeah, season 4 was like peak MLP.
Oh
I
god.
I
don't know,
wouldn't.
There's people
I
on
I
4chan
I
that
mean,
tell me anything but the first note of the opening theme song of episode 1, season 1 is the only thing that's canon. So I don't know if I can agree with that statement because this random person on the internet said something different. So it must be true.
I wouldn't say season 4 is peak to me personally. I mean, it was really only saved by Mod being introduced. That's basically it for me. A lot of the episodes are kind of forgettable for me personally. But that's
I mean, like the final fight of the battle against Tyrek was fucking Kino.
Yeah, I know a lot of people at the time were like comparing it to like Goku versus
DBZ.
Vegeta or some shit, which
Yeah.
probably was the case. I forget who makes DBZ.
I mean, I think that would have been a more interesting way to end it than our fucking Avengers Assemble moment at the season finale.
Yeah, that's I guarantee you that's what they were probably looking to because corporations think in like some sort of hive mind where if they see one person successful, that means they have to emulate everything that they're doing.
Like it's cool to have some references here and there because the early show
Yeah.
did that, but when it's just full on like, oh, it's a 1-to-1 copy, I don't really fucking care.
Yeah.
It's a little silly, but
But
what can you do? Corporations are always going to behave like this, where they kind of have this weird groupthink of do what the big boy's doing, even if it is slowly like killing their brand to anyone that isn't a consumoid.
Yeah, and I know we had this discussion before in the past about like what could have been, but this is like what we got right for the YouTube specials. Like that's what we got. This is what we could have got, which in my opinion works a lot better because I fucking hate CalArts. I fucking hate it. I've seen it everywhere.
I feel
think
like
it's
a
lazy.
schizo saying, "I hate CalArts. I hate CalArts. I hate CalArts."
I mean, we can all agree on that. Like, fucking Kellar sucks.
Well, CalArts is everywhere, man. Adventure Time. I give it a pass only because the story was actually pretty fucking cool.
No, I think it's because like, no, I think because Adventure Time was like the first. Like,
I don't think it was.
I don't know what's the first, but at least with Adventure Time, perhaps it's the nostalgia that's poisoning my mind. But I would imagine it's probably because even though it definitely has a bunch of the noodle in bean face, it isn't obnoxious about it. Or maybe since it was the first, I'm not like just foaming at the mouth every time I see it or
no, I
something like that.
guess. Yeah. Then after that was Demon Universe, and
That was fuck that show.
yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
That's another. That's a can of worms that I don't even want to fucking attempt to open of all the weird shit that happened in that show.
I mean, what about regular show?
I think regular show was kind of whack from what I remember. I didn't watch too much of it because I remember one of the big shows I loved to watch as a kid was either Avatar: The Last Airbender or Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That was the shit that was like my grind, my life, my hustle.
Wait, which Clone Wars?
The TV show because it was out when I was a kid.
Wait, are you talking about the classic one done in the Samurai Jack design, or you're talking about the 3D
not
show?
that one, the 3D,
the 3D show.
Because I had no idea that the Samurai Jack-esque show even existed.
It
Yeah.
does.
You
should
should
watch
go.
it.
You should
Honestly,
watch it. Yeah,
I
you should
if you
watch it.
want, if you want to watch peak General Grievous, you need to watch it immediately.
Oh,
Yeah.
I understand
Okay,
why,
like
but
like my
but
like
I
yeah.
was probably 3 when that show came out. To put it in perspective, I barely had sentience at the time,
Uh,
so I wasn't really aware that it existed. Like I think I had seen like the prequels before I had seen the TV show.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like these designs are just. I think some of them are a lot better than what we got. The concept art, some of the ideas looked a lot better than what we fucking got. Like, I mean, personally, the characters, I'm kind of like meh about it.
Yeah, because
The two on the bottom, but at least the background looks pretty fucking cool. Like that looks like I would love to explore an area like that.
yeah, like this definitely has a lot of mystique. I also don't know what the thingamadoodad on the bottom is. That's really neat. Also, why the fuck is Pip a fat ass? Has she,
I
like
I don't know, man.
is she bulking up to make sick gains? What's going on here?
I have no idea.
She's kind of like one of those meat wads of a pony that's really short but also really chunky.
Oh,
Literal meatball.
The
fucking
meat wad from
that's fucking
Aqua
shark
Teen Hunger
stack.
Force.
I am now forever dubbing Pip as Meatball. I'm sorry. So
I kind of
if you ever
imagine her
hear me
talking like Meat Wad from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh god. Now I'm being reminded of that fucking time Carl just randomly appears in old Bob.
Oh,
Oh.
what you doing, Ada?
but but yeah, like it just feels like they could have had something, they could have had a better vision, but then they went with the more safer route. And
Well, yeah,
I
a lot of these corporations they're typically very risk averse.
and it's just hard for somebody to create their own stuff because again, that's just the fucking cop out argument that they're gonna give you on online. Oh, just make your own thing. But it's sort of like, well,
Yeah.
I'm not an animator, or I'm just a writer, or this or that. Like,
Yeah.
and
Cause,
we've all seen project
Yeah.
that had groups before, or sorry,
Yeah.
we've all seen groups that were trying to do a project and how that ended up.
Because I fucking hate brand sims that don't like allow criticism, like valid criticisms towards like certain companies or brands. Like the fuck.
Yeah, no,
like, because like
it's
it's fucking hate. It's fucking dog shit. It's fucking brand loyalty is.
I mean,
I think
most people are like. I think I actually remember there was an article where differences in preference on brands is actually something that's affecting people's marriages now.
Jesus.
I don't know if it was like that before, but really, Home Slice, you're gonna let whether or not your spouse enjoys Coca-Cola over Dr. Pepper be the thing that destroys your marriage? Normally, it used to be them sleeping with someone else that destroyed your marriage. You're getting upset over this?
Yeah. It's. Oh boy.
But I guess that goes back to like me bitching about people being consumoids while I continue to be an absolute simp for other corporate things.
dude, it's just like fucking take the criticism and that's just what it is. But I think going back to it, One Anon says it pretty fucking well, and it's implying the people who care the most and are the most invested hate it. That must mean it's good, and I should like it. It's I think that captures it pretty well.
Yeah, because I guess my thoughts thinking about this a lot is that in a way, one thing they could do that I've seen another company do for like one of the games they do, I think it was Amplitude. they implemented a fan-made faction for Endless Legend. I haven't played that game. I've only played the Space 2. But what they did to make this fan faction is that they effectively like crowdsourced it from their fans, but they had a vetting process. They weren't just going to accept everyone because you're going to get a lot of shitters that way. Like they made sure to put everything up to be of a standard that they would accept for what they would make in house or something like that, so that what they produce isn't just hot garbage, and it's a way to like have some community outreach or investment into something. And I think it would be a way that that they could make a good show is reach out to good animators or artists and have them sort of create things to see if the fandom is supportive of it, and you would build brand loyalty, you would build like interest, investment, and all of that, because I imagine that people would be interested in seeing like companies making use of the talents of these very talented people rather than just DMCAing them for having fun.
Mhm. I think one company that actually did that was Sega with their one of their Sonic games. As much as we have a weird fascination slash love hate relationship with the Sonic community, but unlike Nintendo that completely BTFO'd a independent team that was working on a Metroid game that was actually going back to the roots of the platformer. Um, the other people that were making this Sonic game, they were welcomed by Sega with open arms, and they're like, "You guys actually look like you guys, care about this, and are investing a lot of time into it. So come right on in." You know, I know Hasbro has like a weird relationship when it comes to like the fandom, because I again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know they were very pissy when they found out that Black Griffin managed to sneak his way into a studio where they were like recording a song or something, and he was like one of the background voices of like of one of those songs, and they
I
got
believe
very
so.
yeah. I don't exactly remember the entirety of the details, but I just remember that they got very pissy at him, and also whatever her fucking name was that was dating him at that time, which we will.
Sure, that wasn't the only thing he snuck into.
Well, let's not get into that. But
Oh,
Oh,
for legal reasons, that was a
Yeah,
joke.
that was a
legal
joke.
Um,
reasons,
Just a
that's a
joke. Just a
joke.
joke. It's a
we,
shit post. Nothing else.
I disavow, and we're moving on. But
Let's cut
but
that out.
no, we'll keep it in.
Who's our pony editor of the week? I didn't look when I came in.
I don't know, like who would be a good editor for this week. We Lyra got stuck with it. Fluttershy did it.
I don't think she's coming back. I think I scared her off with the power of autism.
I think he did. I could have sworn last time she was editing, she like cried in her corner for a good while. I don't know what the fuck you did to her.
Jesus.
I had to assert dominance over who was more autistic.
Yeah,
I don't know
we
if I'm
had
ready to battle Twilight Sparkle yet, but I can defeat Fluttershy.
Lyra for the first two episodes, and after we had Trixie for episode 3, and episode 4 we had Fluttershy. So I'm not. If you guys have any ideas,
I don't know. Did we
shout 'em.
manage to rope in some Anonymare, or is it fucking like do we have Twilight editing this so that she can rate our autism?
I will say something so controversial. I fucking hate Anon Philly, and I fucking hate Anon Mare. I hate him. I hate him.
I think you've already
That's
said this
fair.
though, so it's not exactly news.
It's yeah. Well, like who's on the list? Let's see. We have a piece of paper over here. Let's see. Let's see. They said never to call again. They said they filed a restraining order.
Road.
Um.
I'm sure it was a misunderstanding.
Um.
Uh,
they're not gonna go. They're still going to therapy. Let's see. So they have night terrors still, so probably not them.
Did
Look,
we manage
it looks
to?
like
Is it like AJ is the only one that can withstand the power of autism because she's one of Twilight's friends?
I could either call AJ or Luna. Pick your poison.
AJ.
I mean, if Luna doesn't have a busy schedule, that'd be whack.
I mean, it could be Luna, since we were talking about some spooky things, and she does do bump in the night. You know,
Oh, yeah.
sucking off anons while they sleep. So
Wait,
She does
what?
not.
Huh. That seems a little less more of something else, but all right.
I already texted her, so maybe she'll reply by the time the fucking episode ends.
I like what
But,
is how you text Luna? Do you have to like get a chicken for augury and do some scrying in a crystal orb?
More like I gotta make some more tea for her, and then add a blood of an orphan. But yeah, it gets the point across.
I think she'd be offended about that. She'd instead ask for the blood of Equestria's enemies.
Let's see. Oh fuck! What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we're talking about G5. Before we I think wrap it up because we've been at it for like 2 hours. I was reading and there was a thread that said, "Oh my god, Joshua Graham voiced Sprout in the game," and my fucking autistic mind straight up went to the Joshua Graham from fucking New Vegas.
Of course.
That would be a Giga Chad Sprout if Joshua Graham voice was going through for that.
How does it go again? What the fuck? What is his spiel? Fuck. What is it again?
Like what's it? I think the thing people quote the most is that it's like what's it? God can't do all the work or something like that.
God can't do all the work.
Can't do all of God's work.
Oh yeah, we can't do all of God's work. Or
I think
let me search it up. I'm probably getting it wrong because
Wait,
Honest
we
Hearts
can't.
is not my favorite
Oh,
Vegas
I
DLC.
got it. I got it.
Oh yeah,
it's the
it's we can't expect God to do all the work.
Yeah.
What's it? I think one of them is happy shall he be when he dashes thy little ones on the stones or something like that.
yeah. I want that long. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. So let me see if I can ponify that. Let's see. Yeah. By the rivers that cross Ponyville, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Celestia. Remember, O Celestia, the children of Quadrilla in that day. Oh, wait. I'm fucking being autistic here. But anyways, I thought it was the actual Joshua Graham, but no, it was a fucking guy named Joshua Graham. So I just wanted to
What
oh,
luck on that dude's part.
yeah. I'll when I can't come up with things always on the spot. Maybe I'll edit something that'll ponify it.
Yes, sometimes you can't come up with things on the spot. Then at other times it's you just can't stop being a content goblin where you're just creating shit without a regard for your health or safety.
Yeah.
Which is an aside, that's my favorite goblin aesthetic. Whenever they have such a reckless disregard for health and safety, but they're pushing the bounds of scientific invention anyways.
Mm-hmm.
They just have such an enthusiasm for doing dangerous, crazy things that in a way I can't help but feel humbled at this absolute Chad. So, goblin kind, I kneel.
Gross. I fucking hate goblins. I hate them. That was a Goblin Slayer reference.
Internally, I always feel like a goblin because deep down that's who I realize I am. I identify with the bottom-feeding filth of the world, and that makes me free.
You're probably gonna get a knock on your door later on by the Slayer, just letting you know.
He's too busy in the sewers. He doesn't have enough time for this shit.
Oh man.
He might be busy fighting his way through a fatberg.
I feel bad for Luna having to listen to all this shit. She's probably going insane. It's like,
I
send me
mean,
back to the fucking moon, please.
just imagine all the dreams she's went through. I'm pretty sure she's seen it all at this point. To be honest with you,
I
Oh
I
no,
agree. She would probably be like she'd probably be fucking numb to it all at this point.
if I was home alone,
can you please repeat that again? You cut off.
oh, I'm sorry, because I cut out because I'm a fucking internet Wi-Fi disgusting pleb.
Yeah, you're just intermittently appearing and disappearing in our reality.
Exactly. I'm just
Hopefully
a
we can
figure
get
of your imagination.
yeah. Well, hopefully we can get the quantum waveform stabilized to where you'll stay in this reality.
What I was trying to say was that if I was home alone and didn't care much about my future, I'd be saying a lot more fucked up shit that would make Luna just like quiver and to cringe or in pain.
Sometimes I just
Yeah.
want to pat the moon horse on the head.
Very edgy. That's all I'm gonna
That
say.
is all.
I mean, yeah.
Moon horse is good horse.
I mean, that's all you
Hans.
could really do is like pat her on the head. She has more cushion on her fucking head than on her ass, so
Not sure.
I love those fucking memes where people ask Luna fags, does her tiny butt excite you so? It never fails to make me laugh.
It's a misrepresentation, though, because if you look at the show even shows Candy Ass's ass as being really small. The only ass that's routinely shown as being big is Celestia's, because she's a cow.
I mean, doesn't Mrs. Cake also pack a damn bakery back there?
well,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the name.
It's name. Miss Cake has a cake. I mean, that's to be expected,
well,
really.
she was known as Miss Cake before she got her cutie mark. Well, something cake. So that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense. And the name is a little on the nose there.
Perhaps, but this was before people decided to call asses cakes.
Yeah, I mean, well, that would be interesting to go like on that to go and see what that word started to come out in mass and in use, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
It's weird seeing the evolution from like from like dump truck, cargo freighter, cake, bakery.
cargo freighter. What the fuck?
That's a new one.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's a new
term.
one for me.
Well, on a more wholesome note, talking about like cakes and stuff. I'm glad that food ponies are making a way back to the board. And let's end it off with a little bit of some like random wholesomeness. But I'm sure a lot of you guys remember Ketchup Mare, right?
Yes, I do.
I don't remember. I didn't remember Ketchup Mare, but I do remember Coke Pony and Pizza Pony. Oh, that's
Or Coke Pony because of
actually
like
pretty
clop
funny.
thick.
Ketchup Pony, like a fucking projectile vomiting ketchup onto fries. Now that is funny as hell.
Yeah, I was about to say like just imagine you're just minding your own business and just oh these fries are a little dry. I could use some sauce. And then she's like, oh hey Anon. Oh god, it reminds me of the regular show moment where they like rent out the coffee bean character because they're trying to like finish
Yeah.
their job. They need caffeine and
Oh
coffee
god,
bean.
yeah.
Coffee bean like it comes out of his nipples like projectile like coffee. It was fucking disgusting. But yeah, I can imagine something like that. She's
Oh, man.
this is just so awful. Like she doesn't look like she's enjoying herself.
Can you imagine a pony that vomits like fucking alcohol?
God.
I probably shouldn't ruin the wholesome 100, but I've seen some interesting ideas out there in the wild.
Oh yeah, you wonder where cream cheese comes from?
I was more so thinking about like other interpretations you could do with like a pony that gives you free alcohol.
Oh god, shush.
Yeah, so
Well,
I'm not going to elaborate because that'd be sussy.
Sussy washy.
stop. We have Bagel Bite, a new addition, apparently, possibly. I don't know. I don't keep up with the food mares as much as I should, but she's cute. And then we also have S'more Pone with Bagel Pone. I like that.
Apparently, the one of the artists in here has like a what is this like a spaghetti pony that that can just barely lift for being too much of a fatty. But I guess that's what happens whenever you have too many carbs in your diet.
Oof.
You also tend to have issues with diabetes. The ancient Egyptians learned this the hard way because they actually ate a lot of bread, and especially amongst like the pharaonic class and the priests and whatnot, diabetes was a real problem because they don't work as much as the peasants do, so they don't burn off those calories and sugars that like your bread will turn into in your body, and it'll end up causing diabetes.
I believe it.
Diabetes.
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 It's
Well, these mares are pretty chonk, put in a good way.
I like
not the
these.
back.
I like these
Yeah.
ponies. They're very cute. I just miss shit like food ponies in general. That was one of those things from the ancient era of the fandom that I'm glad people are at least touching up on again.
Well, as always, like you can go back into Desu and just, you know, kind of explore and see what people were doing way back when.
Oh
Because I'm
shit,
sure.
that's actually one of my favorite things to do is go back and occasionally look at what I or somebody else posted or something like that. Because I remember at least browsing the board from like 2016 or so. Not as
Mhm.
early as some people that were here before there even was an MLP board, and they were still shit posting on Co.
Or B for Brony.
Oh yeah, they also did it in B, and I think that was one of the reasons why the rest of the board just seethed and molded too hard because they just couldn't handle the Pony Bros,
Hell yeah.
and so they had to make a GR15 in order to at least contain the power of our autism.
Mhm.
Dude, some like almost 10 years later, they still fucking like seethe. And I hate using that word, but I think it does encapsulate what the feeling they have.
I mean, it's all they do is just they sneed, they mauled, they can barely they can barely they can barely even handle the idea of Pony Bros escaping their containment zone. We're just too
Mhm.
powerful. We have to be contained, otherwise we'd absorb everybody else.
But yeah,
Go,
I,
you guys remember Fluffs or Fluffies?
I
Uh,
fucking despise them.
yeah.
I never understood why they want to kill them in violent ways, but I didn't
I don't
really.
know. Like maybe it's because some
I-
people uh s- like some people are
So
so
cute, I need to destroy it.
yeah, I think maybe it factors into that cute rage aspect. You know what I
What the
mean?
fuck?
Yeah, because I think some people talk about, or at least have mentioned the occasional phenomenon where people like whenever they see something cute, sweet, and adorable, they just feel inexplicable anger for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
That can lead into very dark depths, and I don't even want to touch that again. So
yeah.
thanks for putting that in my mind.
Like I don't get
Um,
it, but some people are just whack.
I wouldn't understand why you would want to. Well, that's actually dumb because yeah,
Yeah. I saw like fucking videos of those. I'm like, huh,
But yeah,
that's just
it was. I mean, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of retarded horses to begin with the exception of Derpy, because she's everybody's sweetheart.
yeah.
But like, bruh, some people are just whack because it seems like one of those obvious outlets for people that have like violent desires or have just become so depraved that that's their new desire.
Well, it's more of like I shouldn't really be talking because one of my favorite stories is Fallout Equestria, which is basically cute ponies killing each other in horrible ways. So
I mean,
yeah,
I also play the Equestria War mod where you can have shitloads of cute ponies dying by the second, if you so desired. But I don't
Jesus
because I
Christ.
always load my divisions with field hospitals because there's nothing funnier than grand battle plan doctrines entrenchment pairing that up with like super high manpower and experience retention with field hospitals and then also and then just like dabbing while your enemy, which is probably an AI, because if you're playing a paradox game, do you really have friends?
That's true.
Jesus.
And then you just sit there and 1914 your way to victory by Christmas.
God. Um. Yeah.
Well, that's just me, and I want to end up in a more wholesome note instead of that. So that's why I brought up the food pones. Damn it.
I don't like. Let's see here. What's another thing from the old fandom days that fills you with joy and it sparks joy?
I think seeing going back to Desu, seeing old artists trying to draw ponies, and then seeing them now,
I
whether
mean,
for better or for worse.
I honestly, I actually did. I actually did enjoy seeing like those older fan arts of like humanized versions of like the characters, whether it's in like anime format or just like something else, like semi-realistic or something like that.
Yeah, sort of like the humanized art before Equestria Girls became a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think more people gave that a pass than Equestria Girls. I don't exactly know why, but
Well,
yeah.
if you have like talented artists that just want to make something fun, or just because without any like corporate involvement, then people tend to like that more. So, what if a pony would? How about a pony would look like if they were like human?
Mm.
So
Yeah, because I mean, for those that hate the site, but whatever, I'll still use the name. If you go to Derpy Brew, go all the way to like the first images that are being posted. Like, you had humanized art from like way back when. It wasn't like, oh, this was a thing because Equestria Girls was here and near. Like, no, this is it's everywhere. So it's like I don't really mind it, honestly. The humanized stuff, and I don't really go all spurred out on the other stuff as well. But that's just me.
It's okay. I mean, I generally prefer the ponies as they are, but I understand
True.
people like the humanized as well. I don't
Yeah.
shit on them that hard.
Yeah.
I do like shitting on people that like get exceptionally autistic because they're people that take themselves too damn seriously, and so they deserve it.
At least the porn side, the version is nice.
This is true.
Oh man, yeah, that's what I miss. I miss that.
I
God.
guess I know I've already said it multiple times before, but one of the things that sparks joy for me, at least in remembering it, is those old MLH threads. And for those of you who have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, since they so rarely come up, it's My Little Human. It's sort of like putting yourselves in the perspective of a pony that watches a show about people who may watch shows about ponies.
Ah.
Sort of like in a way you could imagine it as like a cartoonized version of our reality or something like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was always like Lyra, like come on, Bon Bon, My Little Human is on right now.
Yeah.
That's like the OP images.
I've actually seen some people where like they actually have Bon Bon be or like not Bon Bon, Lyra be like the complete opposite of who watches this show, which is kind of funny just to
Yeah.
like have like a bit of just like something different. Of course,
Yeah.
I almost said a
It's
Redditor's
like
favorite thing of subverting expectations.
/JP. There's like Monster Girls thread where like, haha, what if like there's like Monster Girls watch reality or shows about like humans or human men more specifically.
Oh yeah, that's probably a classic as well, where it's just like big monster women thirsting for human men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another classic. I know it probably seems like the biggest lonely please talk to me thing out there, but I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I want to tap into the whole like just messing with the art. Hence the luchador mares. I really like that idea.
Honestly, I let me actually search that up on Derpy right now. I want to search up Luchador Mare, uh, like
I'm
as two separate
pretty
names.
sure. I'm pretty sure there has to be art of it. There can't be just some random guy talking about it because it has to happen. Like
Luchador. Should I actually search up like Luchadore or just
it's
Luchador?
just luchador. I mean, like it should pop up because
There's only 11 images of luchadors and mares. Like
really.
let me pull up one of the ones that features ponies from like or like the oldest pick that's here. So yeah, there's actually like an untapped market here.
Hmm. Well, looks like I'm about to cause a fucking monopoly then.
Yeah, just to have a monopoly on it all. Make people thirst for things they never realized they wanted.
Yeah. Like
Let's see here.
Applejack's voice.
What's
That
it?
voice awakened something in me when I first heard it. I'm just like, oh god.
Now, Paul, that apple mare has a voice that's
I
needs
have
to
a
come to the
mighty
vapors.
need for country girls now.
Like this is the oldest image that I can find of luchador mares.
Wow, speaking of Rarity and Applejack.
Yeah, this is the first one I could find, and Rarity's also using her curled tail as a weapon.
Why do they look sad though?
Uh, I don't fucking know. I don't know. Maybe this is like trying to be suggestive with how Rarity has the rose in her mouth, and it's kind of like pinning AJ's back legs and sitting on her back to where sort of like I guess like a good way of saying it would be like how some fights, at least with like the WWE, it's it's sports entertainment rather than
Mm,
sports, where you're more so there to be entertained rather than to see people's athletic prowess, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
But
Well,
here's probably a better, funnier image than that one that actually has a pretty damn nice mask design for Rarity. Let's see. I don't actually folder anything. I just search through it by file name.
mm,
So that's probably why it takes me so long to pull shit up.
it's all good.
Hmm.
I know it's a very high IQ way of doing things that not everyone is
Or
prepared to do.
or you could just like search up recently added or something or newest whatever
I could, but I choose not to do anything because it's
of
funnier that
course.
way.
Of
And
course.
here's the other image.
Wow,
There,
she's firing a giant crab.
yeah, this was a thing that was around for a while back in the day of Rarity fighting
Yeah.
giant enemy crabs.
The giant enemy spider.
Oh, there's a random Sweetie Belle there too.
Of course.
And there's also like a moth on the screen.
Oh yeah, there
I don't
is
know.
too.
I wonder what the story of that is.
I just like the image of luchador ponies.
I like it
The
too.
mask design also looks really nice too. It has a bunch of embroidery on it that I feel would be pretty Rarity. But
There's
then again,
also the
I'm pretty sure like most luchador masks are probably at least pretty damn fancy unless you're going with something basic.
yeah. Most of the time they're pretty ornate. Most of the time.
Well, yeah, that adds to like the show factor, doesn't it?
Exactly.
I actually don't know, but are luchador fights more sports entertainment, or are they like hardcore wrestling? But they also have like personas.
I
Luchador is more hardcore wrestler. They don't really. I mean, character is a part of it, but it's not as like big in it's like American wrestling, whereas like
Yeah,
half the
because I
time it's like purely entertainment.
Yeah, because that's the best way I can describe it with at least American
Yeah,
wrestling. Is that
luchador is like
it's absolutely just the entertainment, where it's just there to be as whack and over the top as possible.
luchadors take themselves seriously for the most part.
Yeah, because the only thing I really remember is like the occasional big name. I haven't really looked into it that much. I mostly just like some of the stuff in American wrestling because it's nothing that you can take seriously because it's funny and it's just entertainment. It's something that you can turn your brain off to. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure it's also really fun seeing like these careers of the luchadors like sort of progressing over time and like building their story or something like that.
Classic WWF right there.
Mhm.
Don't get that much anymore.
You don't.
Yeah. I think it's mostly because all the big names that were there have probably left or are dead, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But
A lot of them are dead, probably.
yeah, I think it's more so that that they're probably going through like a bit of a dark age. Maybe there'll be a resurgence at some point. But they
Right.
have to. I guess they have to find the right kind of charismatic individuals for it.
My little dark age. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess we'll you guys wanna cut it there?
Probably because we're kind of just fading out with just
Yeah.
one or two voices talking now.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Alright, well I guess sorry. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here as per usual. Thank you for joining me. We'll go down the list, and if you guys want to say something, go ahead. We'll start from up to down. So, Mr. Yart.
Attention, all penis wielders. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
Or Mayor. Smutty.
I don't have anything clever or really autistic to say, so I'll just say it's been a pleasure.
Good. Drunkski.
Like rather revealing, like how Celestia, despite the fact that she banished her sister to the moon for 1,000 years, felt the need for 1,000 years and after to spread slander about the size of her sister's ass. I mean, it's kind of just, it's really sad in a way.
Dude,
It's always my in person.
Luna's ass is like so flat you can use it as a cutting board.
Not true.
Dr. Death.
I'm in your walls. I'm in your walls. I'm in your walls. I'm in your walls. I'm in your walls.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, there's gonna be one person listening to that. I'm gonna have a schizo moment. So
Yeah, they're hearing their
Good.
activation phrase and are beginning their
Good.
secret covert task.
I am so sorry, whoever that user is.
Good.
They won't be around for long if that's their activation phrase.
Oh no, they're gonna hunt us down. And this has been your de facto host once again, Wanderer. I would like to thank White Castle for sending me that check of 25 cents. Truly are blessed. Yeah, we're gonna
live large.
Exactly.
25 cents, enough for literally one slider. Well, at least when it first opened, at least.
Hush. Anyways, thank you, White Castle, for sponsoring this episode. As usual, archive everything because people love to delete stuff. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.